The Tsui Hark retrospective continues. I was able to watch Once Upon a Time in China on the big screen, and I gotta say the movie is very different from how I remembered it. This one was a formulative movie for me, very nostalgic. I remember renting the first, second, third, and in America from Blockbuster, because there was a whole martial arts craze, and I remember discovering Jet Li. I'm pretty sure my first movie of his was Twin Warriors, I think, or was it the Enforcer? It's one of those things where like they had like the really crappy dubbed version of some of the movies. The Master is another one, and definitely discovering Jet Li back in the day was really great. So I don't remember this movie too much. I've seen it several times. I own it on DVD, and I know that Criterion has like a new special like 6-film box set, but this movie definitely, I now see why it's one of the most influential martial arts films of all time. Jet Li plays Wong Fei Hung, a doctor and a martial artist with his own school, and this movie is basically kind of a patriotic sort of fervor film where he plays a just a humble doctor who loves the people. However, the westernization is sort of gripping Foshan China, and it's basically there's religious people who pop in and try to get people to convert to a different religion. You've got the British there and Americans, and they're doing business with China, but they're also introducing terrible things like opium and human trafficking. Essentially, they have all these fake sort of stalls set up to like say, come to America, work in the gold mines, and then they just kidnap you. So that's kind of the main plot. We're focusing on Foon. He is a wannabe actor who works at a local theater troupe. However, he gets into a fight with some Shaho thugs who show up collecting money. The fight ends up breaking up into a restaurant where Wong Fei Hung is talking to some white men, and they're the villains. There's Jackson, and then there's he's an American, and then Wickers is British. And a man got shot, and they're trying to talk about like boundaries and like how Americans set up no Chinese people zones, a lot of racism and xenophobia. And the movie, does a very bold thing by not having any action for the first 30 minutes to develop characters. Something I noticed in this viewing, Wong Fei Hung isn't the principal sort of focal point of the film. Yeah, obviously Jet Li's the main character, but you've also got his love interest, 13th aunt, who's related to him by marriage. And then there's Foon, who sort of, he himself as a character is also a sort of theme of the film, because he sort of wants to just be an actor, but then he starts falling into the wrong crowd when he meets Iron Vest Yim, a martial artist with armor pugilism, who basically has to work as a sort of sideshow because he's a martial arts master, but that's not going to pay the bills. So he follows him, and basically they fall into the Shaho gang and become villains, and Foon realizes and has a change of heart. And that's almost like a major theme of the film, because Iron Vest Yim, he is kind of like a dark mirror to Wong Fei Hung, because he's also a martial arts master, but he's choosing the wrong path. He'll have a school at any cost, even if it means working with human traffickers, working with like bandits, working with vicious foreigners. There's even a part of the fight scene where we find out there's a blade in his ponytail, and a braid, and then Wong Fei Hung cuts it off, and he starts losing the fight and starts flailing around like a wild man. My theater thought it was funny because it was kind of just a part of a serious fight, but it also is a theme of him kind of losing his humanity. There's another character who cuts off his braid because he wants to go back to America. His name is Bucktooth So. He is a simpleton who has a stutter with Chinese, but he speaks English very well. He's from America, and he's working at the Pochi Lam school with Wong Fei Hung. There's also Porky. He runs a meat stand, and he's a very hot-headed and always gets his master into trouble by wanting to fight everyone. There's also Kai. He's like doesn't really have any flaws, but he's just sort of there to be a student and humble sort of man. And they help out a lot too, right? Wong Fei Hung isn't able to do everything himself in this movie. It's more of an ensemble. And obviously the anti-foreigner sentiment is one of the main sort of themes of this film, which really does elevate it from more than just a martial arts movie about a guy stopping traffickers, and makes it more of a period piece drama film about the expansion of foreign cultures invading China, which is something obviously that Tsui Hark wanted, and it was intentional because he wrote the film with other people. And obviously you still have to have the action, which is pretty solid. You've got a brawl in a restaurant, and then we've got Wong Fei Hung kind of doesn't get to let loose till the end of the movie, and then there's a lot of little brawls between other characters, like Iron Vest Yim has a couple fights here and there, but he's sort of the dark foil to Wong Fei Hung. At the end, though, he meets his demise in a different way, and also comes to the same realization that technology will outpace martial arts. So this movie is really, more than just a showcase of Jet Li's amazing acrobatic ability. I mean, there's plenty in there at the beginning and during the film, and watching him just kick ass. But if you watch this movie just expecting a fight fest, you're not going to get that entirely. There's a lot more stuff going on. The movie's a full 2 hours, 15 minutes, because it's also got all this other stuff going on with the story and the militia and the ever-expanding role of westernization. And even our main character even comes to have some character development. At the end, he's wearing a suit and getting a photo taken, and at the beginning of the film he's like, I don't want cameras in the school, I won't wear a suit because he wants to resist change as much as physically possible. And it's kind of like a sort of interesting story to go along with everything too, because it is a period piece. There's also some other good themes in there. There's a preacher character that shows up, and he has an important thing to do. But overall, yeah, Once Upon a Time in China is a MovieFiendz favorite. It definitely still is, and going to watch Once Upon a Time in China 2 on the big screen in a week. So yeah.